I was rewatching Kurkarl's video recently, and it got me thinking about how Dream SMP has shaped me over my lifetime. It got me thinking about big ideas like nostalgia and fandom and life, because the Dream SMP has and always will be a huge part of who I am, and this video is an attempt to reckon with that. I wouldn't have done this if Kurkarl didn't make her video on the Dream SMP herself, but watching her tribute made me realize that I've had a lot of unresolved feelings on the Dream SMP. I always think it's behind me. I thought I put it behind me so many times, but no matter what, I keep coming back to it. It's always the elusive little Minecraft roleplay that continues to fascinate and compel me. Also, side note, shout out to Kurkarl for helping me with the video. Go check out Kurkarl's video. It's great as well. Better, perhaps? You should decide for yourself and go check it out. With that being said, let's begin. If you don't know what the Dream SMP is, first of all, this video probably isn't for you. But second of all, it's a Minecraft roleplay series that spanned from summer of 2020 to fall of 2022. It's the epic saga of a variety of characters, including, but not limited to, Tommyinnit, Wilbursoot, Tubbo, Dream, Technoblade, and many other important people. Among many story arcs, it involved the geopolitical conflicts of the fictional country L'Manberg, the ongoing fight for the ownership of a beloved pair of music discs, and the dramatic battle between good and evil. The other thing you need to know about it was that it became a defining part of my life. I first discovered Dream SMP when I was in middle school by watching Technoblade streams because I didn't know everyone streamed on the SMP on Twitch. I found myself gravitating towards Tommyinnit and Wilbur's story arcs, the former because I connected with him a lot, and the latter because he fascinated me. Tommy was a character I related to a lot at the time. He was bright, energetic, spunky. He was the epitome of being a teenager. And Wilbur was a man I related to a lot creatively. He was always the ambitious one, the one coming up with grand plans and narratives, and he had a flair for the dramatic, just like me. I saw a lot of myself in the self-proclaimed C crime boys, and by watching them I tried to explore those aspects of myself even more. As I watched the story unfold, I found myself getting sucked into the larger world of fandom, from fan art to fanfiction, and it gradually comprised my identity and personal growth. Gradually, the SMP started to change me as I got more and more invested in it. I got into Sad-ist in late August to animatics, and this revealed something to me that would permanently change my life. Fandom. That's right, Dream SMP was the rabbit hole into the wonderland of me watching animatics, looking at fan art, reading and writing fanfiction, the list goes on. I found a space where my creative impulses felt limitless and where people reciprocated shared love for the SMP. My creative and aesthetic tastes expanded to incorporate these things into my life as I would watch Dream SMP streams, firstly to get me through lockdown, but primarily to get me through life. I know it was like that for most of the fandom as well, being raised during quarantine and finding coping mechanisms through the internet. My interest in fandom culture eventually expanded beyond the Dream SMP to incorporate things like Simon Snow and the Marauders, but my first foray into fanfiction was Dream SMP, and it stays with me in the way my favorite fanfic trope is found family. I started making animations and videos, and Dream SMP provided me with an interest in storytelling, which eventually evolved into a passion for filmmaking. As a result, I've been trying to pursue film for about 3 years now. I started getting interested in politics through the Manberg v. Bogtopia arc, because I was interested in the dynamics of power and the ideas of rebellion versus dictatorship, and this resulted in an interest in political science. That stuck with me until present day. I'm studying both film and political science in college. Also, my music taste. Los Campesinos is my favorite band, and I have Wilbur to thank for that. Wilbur was the transition for me listening to Life is Fun on repeat to actually good independent music like Arctic Monkeys and Lovejoy. My point is, there's this weird intersectionality in my life between Dream SMP and who I am and who I'm trying to be. It's been this tremendous influence on who I am, both artistically and personally. The Dream SMP was a huge creative outlet for so many people, myself included. You had so many people making amazing fan art, writing compelling fan fiction, or just theorizing and discussing it with energetic frenzy on Tumblr and YouTube. The community has affected me deeply at levels that are hard to begin to describe. Kurkarl once described Dream SMP as a story about growing up and realizing the world is imperfect, that you're imperfect, and that life is really, really hard. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I mentioned before that Tommy as a protagonist is supposed to encapsulate the idea of youth, and that you watch that get tested as Tommy grows up and various horrific things happen to him. It's an arc I related to immensely as I watched Tommy's journey mirror my growth as a person, going from a happy, upbeat kid to someone confronted with the bitter cynicism of the adult world and struggling not to let it destroy him. During Season 3 of the Dream SMP, I was developing what I didn't know at the time, but now know was depression. This was at the same time that Tommyinnit was in a depressive state. A lot of his symptoms are ones that mirrored mine at the time, and it was an experience I related to in ways that helped me through a dark time. His character kept talking about yearning for the past and not feeling good anymore, and I was going through a period in my life where I felt the same, whether it be with DSMP or just life in general. It didn't make me feel better, but it gave me some agency to the pain I was feeling at the time. I know that Dream SMP was a giant coping mechanism for people going through lockdown, but what made me stick with it even after COVID ended was how much I could personally relate to it and how I'm not the only one. At the end, Tommy started yearning for a simpler, easier time to go back to childhood, and it works because he was growing up. It's not just Tommy, too. Wilbur spends his entire redemption arc reckoning with the people he hurt in the past and regretting what could have been in the wake of his suicide. In the end, when they and we grew up, we're both propelled by the past, when what we needed to do was let go, move on, and cherish what we had. So even now, it's a story that resonates with me and helps me resolve my history of mental health struggles due to how accurate Tommy's experiences with depression and trauma are. Seeing him hang on day after day gave me the resolve to carry on as well. Without going much into it, sometimes I would go back and watch old Exile Arc streams to feel seen. Or I'd watch the stream where he confronts his past trauma before entering the prison to kill Dream. Or I'd rewatch his monologue in Wilbur's Tower stream where he yearns to make things simple again. Or I'd watch Wilbur's finale where he says, "I didn't used to be this angry," and cry. He's a character I really connected to in the throes of my depression, and I still do now, despite growing up. Dare I say, because I'm growing up. Because Tommy's story is about the world being an imperfect place to survive in, and it's a theme that's resonated with me as I've watched the people in my life turn bad and hurt me. There's still an elephant in the room that I need to address. I feel like it'd be disingenuous to both the SMP and myself if I didn't. It's him. After all this time, it's always him. Wilbur. Wilbur's legacy is one of the more complicated things I've had to grapple with growing up online. He was a genuine inspiration to me in ways that no other creator was, offering a fresh artistic voice and constantly bringing his visions to life in grandiose ways. His story arc for his Dream SMP character is one of the most emotionally affecting parts of the SMP, especially his redemption, and his music taught me to acknowledge my mistakes and try to grow beyond them and be a better person. I owe so much of who I am today to this man, and I know I'm not the only one. There's so many people every day who've written about how touched they are by his music and raw authenticity, and that it's inspired them to be better people themselves as well. His impact can't be understated, both to me and to his fan base. He meant everything, and yet he's an awful human being. He abused Shelby, Nikki, and Alice, took no accountability for it, and then continued on like it was nothing. He continued to regress as a person and forgo the supposed progress that he made. I and so many others were genuinely inspired by how open he was about overcoming his mental health struggles, only for us to realize that it was all a lie. What am I and the thousands affected by him supposed to do now that we owe so much personal development to an awful human being who's incapable of taking accountability? Some have regressed into denial, which I don't want to do, and I don't know what to do, and that's rough. That feeling bleeds into how much of the Dream SMP that I love being because of him. He was the architect behind the storytelling, he was the guy pulling the strings, and yet he was a monster once you discovered the man behind the curtain. I don't want to owe a big chunk of my life to this guy, and yet it's too late. And that sucks. I feel sometimes like he has this ownership over me, like I'm waiting to forgive him and things will go back to normal. But I'm not deluding myself, and I'm not being naive about it. He's an awful person, and I don't owe him anything, no matter how much I am drawn to him. It just makes me feel guilty. It makes me feel guilty for providing him a platform and giving him a voice and seeing myself in him at all. In many ways, it's my fault that he was capable of getting away with what he did. I remember watching Nikki once talking about her experiences in Dream SMP and with Wilbur being terrible, and I wonder if she resents me for enabling it all. I wonder if she resents Tommy for being Wilbur's friend, and it haunts me that I don't know. And that's what makes Dream SMP so complicated for me, because liking the roleplay is inextricably linked to what he did. It's something I still haven't resolved, and I don't know when I will. It just leaves me angry and resentful at Wilbur for exploiting me the way he did. So what now? People online say the SMP ended in a train wreck all the time, and I'm going to be honest, there's a sliver of truth to it. But what happens now? Where do we go from here? And how do I salvage the love I have for this roleplay through the drama that it got caught up in? How do I love something without enabling the people that hurt me? If there's anything that helped me through dealing with Wilbur, it's the realization that I don't owe him anything. He just happened to help me inadvertently, and he's not a saint for doing that. Part of how I reclaimed my experiences in the fandom is the realization that the worst thing I could do is let them ruin it for me. And at the end of the day, the good outweighs the bad, and I can't let Wilbur and Dream tarnish my memory, because then I just let them win. I won't give them the ownership over what they feel entitled to, because the Dream SMP is bigger than that. Its fandom is too vast and encompassing for any singular person to have a claim to it, and the fandom is an interconnected hub that operates not because of, but in spite of the horrific nonsense that Wilbur and Dream choose to inflict on us. There's a small yet substantial community of people who love the Dream SMP to this day with a genuine authenticity that's more powerful than anything the creators could have done. And they're doing that same process of reclamation. If my time in Marauders fandom has taught me anything, it's that stories can be reclaimed from toxic authors and new ownership is transferred over to its audience, which, with the Dream SMP over, is what we're seeing. To this day, you still see people posting cosplay and fan art. Heck, they went viral again during the Trump assassination. So I won't let them defeat me. At the end of the day, Dream SMP is too big not to let any single individual tarnish its memory, and that's the way it'll stay for me. It's like Wilbur Soot once said, "I don't miss you, I miss the thought of what we were." 'Cause this is the part where I shut up and let you infest my brain, wrap your arms around my cortex, dig you in and let you drain. I'll never be rid of you. Oh, you're like a fucking disease. You'll make a home in my gut, because it's somewhere warm to sleep. I'm growing up. I'm leaving for college and I'm writing this script while packing. I just turned 18 a week ago. It scares me that I'll have to leave my childhood and my innocence behind, which is what prompted this video in the first place. As I'm growing up, I'm thinking back on Dream SMP and I find myself missing it, wanting to retreat back into the past and the comfort of childhood the way Tommy tried to. I miss the Dream SMP the way Tommy craved simplicity, to return to his youth, but we're cursed to grow up. For the first time in years, I decided to revisit everything. I collected some of my old sketchbooks and USBs and went through my fan art. I made a lot of fan art and planned to make animatics, but never posted any. I made a couple of Dream SMP animations once for a map, but nothing came out of it. I then decided to watch some of the old late August animatics that meant so much to me as a kid. Then I watched Wilbur's finale where he leaves for Utah. And I was just overcome with such a wave of emotion that I just broke down. I didn't cry, but I felt all the kind of gut-wrenching that makes you cry. I don't know why I didn't. I wanted to. This was my childhood, and it was such a huge part of my life, and now I'm growing up. I know I can't go back as much as I want to. The ultimate lesson of Tommy's arc is that I need to keep moving forward, not looking back to find redemption. I'm reminded of how Tommy's story was all about growing up, and the image I choose to remember of him being him struggling and carrying on. I choose to remember the last time we saw him, when Jack asked him if he was happy, and Tommy says he's getting there. That's what I'm going to choose to do. I'm going to try to get there. Dream SMP is a window into the past. It's a reflection of the person I was and where I'm going. It's been a huge part of me for 5 years, and even though it was never perfect, it's still incredibly important to me. And I know it still is to a lot of people. I'll choose to remember it fondly in spite of everything, and I'll remember its story forever even if I never revisit it. I hope this video helps you understand what the SMP means to me and why it's special to me and how it's helped me discover who I want to be. Kurkarl in her video said the theme of the Dream SMP is love. It's about how people's connections and passions are important and where they end up taking you and how it makes you stronger. That's manifested in the discs, in the war for L'Manberg, in Tommy's battles with Dream, and his brotherhood with Wilbur, and his friendship with Tubbo. It's a theme reflected in a fandom that continues to care about the story. It's reflected in how much I cared and still care about this story. It's what's changed my life for the better, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. The Dream SMP is really important to me. It's a story I really love, with characters I love, and there really isn't anything like it. I'm glad it was a part of my life. It taught me that growing up doesn't mean abandoning the things we love. It means evolving alongside of them and carrying on until the end of the day. This silly little roleplay is still with me, and it'll continue to be, no matter where life takes me. So remember, there was a special place, there was, and it's me and you. This is Dream. Thank you for watching.